And welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. And we're in our studios in downtown Lansing, actually. Very comfortable to be here. It's kind of like visiting a distant relative. We don't get in here all that much to do these sorts of things, but this guest today is very important to us. We have on with us the CEO, the president and CEO of the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, and they are so huge. They're really more than regional. Sandy Baruah. Sandy, it is always good to have you on. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris, and always so good to be on your program and with you. So hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well.
Well, listen, you did a great presentation for us at the Speaker Series, and we captured it on video, so anybody can watch it at any time they want by going to our site here. Give us, if you remember, give us a few of the highlights from that presentation.
Well, I think we really talked about the really dynamic and unknown trajectory of Michigan's economy and frankly, the nation's economy coming out of COVID. Number one, we talked about, just the trajectory of the virus is so unknown. We don't know what's going to happen this fall. If we're able to keep the virus levels under control, if we do a good job of that, I think the slow, steady economic recovery for many of us, but not all of us, will continue, and we'll be in really good position in the spring of 21 once there is a vaccine to really have some strong economic growth. If we don't have a handle on this virus, and unfortunately, I think we just reported 34 of the 50 states are seeing increases, in some cases, significant increases. And Michigan, unfortunately, is one of those states that we're seeing an uptick, a notable uptick in the virus levels as we go into fall. And if that trend continues, then I'm afraid kind of all bets are off in terms of how we're going to get through the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's kind of, there's a few aberrations too. We've noticed in Ingham County in particular, where we're housed, the return of the Michigan State students gave us a little spike. So there are things like that happening around the state that throw these numbers.
It's interesting, Chris. I'm looking at that data pretty closely, and what we're finding in these university towns, CMU, MSU, maybe a little less so around the Grand Valley area, is that the outbreaks at university campuses are notable in their numbers, but they're not necessarily spreading throughout the community. They're relatively contained to the campus area, at least so far. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Things are moving along, though, in spite of all of this. And one of the big projects down there, of course, is Ford's project at the Michigan Central Depot Station. What an incredible project. And we have particular interest here in mid-Michigan because Chrisman Company is doing a lot of this project. And I might, by disclaimer, say that my son is one of the vice presidents at Chrisman, and very excited about that project. That's huge for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the major projects in the Detroit region are going along well. We got, the Michigan Central Station. We have the international bridge crossing with Canada, the Gordie Howe International Bridge Crossing. Certainly, we have the Hudson site led by Dan Gilbert and team. And all those projects are continuing unabated.
Well, it's pretty amazing what all is going on. Now, you're leading the third largest chamber of commerce in the nation. What are the focus projects and programs, I guess, during the remainder of 2020, what little is left, and what's the program of work?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Chris. So like every other organization, we had to do a hard pivot, and I'm just so proud of our team in terms of how well and how quickly and effectively they made the pivot in light of COVID, back in March. So, one of the first things that we did was that we realized that, listen, this is a true crisis, and people are going to need help. Businesses are going to need help. Individuals are going to need help. So we basically, for an interim period, changed our entire business model. Everything we did, we essentially lowered the paywall, if you will. We didn't charge anybody for anything. We created the state's largest and most robust COVID response center. We had specific services and information targeted at businesses, specific services targeted at just individuals, because we realized that we're in a unique position to really kind of get information out there in a way that others really weren't. So we kind of changed our mission from just being business centric to being kind of public centric. And we didn't care if you were a member of the Detroit Regional Chamber or not. We are there to help you. And I'm really proud of that work. For the rest of the year, real quickly, Chris, we are executing our digital programming related to our Mackinac Policy Conference. Obviously, we weren't on the island in the spring as we normally are. That's going to continue until after Election Day. We're going to do an Election Day wrap up, which may take place several days after Election Day, based on the number of absentee ballots that we're going to see nationwide. And then, of course, we are preparing for some of our traditional events, and an event that I know that you attend and is close to your heart, the State of the Region report.
Well, it's tremendous stuff. And of course, I'm sure you get asked this on a maybe by minute basis. What about next May and the Mackinac Island Policy Conference?
Yeah, so we just announced, Chris, and it probably is somewhere in your inbox, that we are not going to do the conference in May next year. We have moved those dates to mid-September just for 2021 only. 2022, we're already booked back at the Grand Hotel for our traditional post-Memorial Day dates. But we just realized that, listen, corporate travel policy, as well as the availability of the vaccine are two big question marks that we cannot anticipate what the world's going to look like in early June, late May. And we decided to be proactive and move the conference.
Well, Sandy, it's always great to spend time with you, and I'm always in awe of everything that you guys accomplish down there. Give my best to your crack staff, Tammy Carnreich, and everybody else. You do a tremendous job, and thanks for taking the time today.
My pleasure, as always. Chris, best to you and your team.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on. Sandy Baruah, the President and CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. Stick around because we're going to be back with a whole lot more.